Hey, 1-800.
And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Greetings to you.
Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
We hope the station for you is OTR. That's the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radios glowing in the dark. Those vintage CB radios from 1958 to 1978 when the manufacturers were putting vacuum tubes in them back in the day. We should have a few of them checking in, parading across your speaker tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. In our 34th year of doing just that, listening for the radios and having a good time here in Central California. Hope you can join us, and we'll be listening on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Sounding good on my end, Old Tube Radio, out here in Clovis.
All right, we are hopefully sounding good. Thanks for the report from Clovis. And anywhere where there might be an Old Tube Radio firing up tonight, we are looking for radio number 1 on our list.
45.
And maybe we have one. SWL 45. Hello, Paul. I want to just quickly check out the board here. See who's listening. Paul's going to be our first radio tonight. Hello to Liverpool is right up there in the front row tonight. Hopefully we can get some antique valve radios. South Carolina, Illinois, New York, Maryland, Georgia, California stations. A lot of California stations. North Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Iowa, and Kentucky, all listening in tonight. And our first radio beaconing through. Hello, Paul, if you can hear me through what appears to be some skip coming in.
I hear you just fine, Dennis. You probably had a little trouble hearing me. I want to check in my Regency Imperial SSB-DSB radio.
All right. Making me jealous on the Regency. Sounding good. I wouldn't have guessed it was the Regency. They have kind of a classic sound all of their own. The Regency Imperial, one of the double sideband radios. Who else? I think the Tram was the Titan. The Titan II also had double sideband. Kind of jumping the gun, although we know that General Radio Telephone had the early sideband radio, but in 1967-68, getting in the double sideband mode was the Regency. Also with the double sideband DSB, double sideband suppressed carrier, they had some great AM audio, which we will be listening to as you take a transmission on the Regency. Over.
Yeah, you might be a Jason Kid, ain't no time. Yeah, you know what, you're making it through just fine. I hope I'm making it back to you. I don't know. It sounds a little rough out there. Anyway, this is really a nice radio, a real pretty radio. Called Imperial for a reason. They got the meter has a free function meter on the thing. As you can see it probably in the picture if you got it. I know you got it up there, that's it. That's on the left side, and the needles are jumping right now. It looks like the region is range gain 2, except in the center on the front of the speaker cover, it has a gold crown, which with Imperial written below the crown. So they did the best to get a fancy one out. They did a good job. It was, I think, sold for roughly $300. Back to you, Dennis.
Yeah, I believe you're right. It was sideband, so the price was up there in the $300 range. A pretty crafted radio. I mean, very, very well built. I have one. That was my first. Actually, it was my second big CB radio, my first Old Tube radio. And when we started doing OTR, that's the radio that I would fire up and get it up on Channel 11, even before we were, very formal like we are now. We're just chatting on 11 with the tube radios, and it really get some audio. I never had the good microphone. I think I was running a +2 on the radio, and I think it's the better microphone for that might be a D104, and I'll have to find out what you're running. I was really good at on mine. The case had a little hole where I could stick a little tuning wand and adjust my sideband of our VFO so that it was, I think, at 10 o'clock for lower and 2 o'clock for upper. I could have been reversed, but I had that all tweaked, and then there were some adjustments on the side for the audio and the carrier control. And then if the light bulbs are working, I think, and you can see if this happens on yours. When you key the microphone, the meter changes to red. Is that correct?
That's correct. And by the way, I'm talking on a stock mic. It's made by Turner. It's a non-amplified ceramic microphone.
Yeah, I've still got the stock mic for mine. I don't think I ever ran it through an audio board. I think it was before I had a lot of the audio gear set up when I had it. And boy, when I bought the thing, it was from a guy that worked at a television repair shop, and he had wanted to really fix it up, and he gave me all the information. This is back in 1972, I think. He gave me all the information to order from Regency, every single knob. They called them the escutcheons. They were the little inserts around the meters. To refurb the whole thing, the ring, the gold ring, he had all the prices and all the parts, and he really wanted me to restore that radio. And then I started adding up all the prices, and I remember I was saving money. I was saving money to go to college. It's like, oh, it's going to cost me $100 to refurb this radio, so I never did. So I'm sorry I didn't buy this stuff and have it in a bag somewhere, because I'm sure you can't get it today. Nice AM audio. The Regency Imperial 2, I believe, added an ANL, another ANL or noise blanker, because there is an ANL where you've got AM and AM ANL, but there was another switch on there, but not too much different. Of course, the final. You can crank that thing down to 100 milliwatts if you want to, and talk across the street. Anyway, give us another transmission. Regency Imperial double sideband suppressed carrier AM. Over to you.
Okay, well, I'm glad you had one. I got a question. They made an early one and a later one. And according to the notes I got here, mine is the early one. Do you know the difference, Dick?
No. I don't know what the difference would be. I'm trying to think what they would have changed. Maybe prior to the 2. And the 2 had an ANL switch on it. And there may have been something else. But I don't think they changed any of the tubes. It had 13 tubes. It had the product detector, because that's why it had the extra tube, because you needed the tube for the sideband. I remember mine is not functional because the crystals in there, it's a synthesized radio, so you have 13 crystals to do all 23 channels, and I would have blocks. One of the crystals would go bad in the multiplier, and I'd have a block of channels go out, like 9, 14, 18, 23, and eventually the block that ran channel 11 went out. I used to have, to keep the crystals hot, I used to have a aluminum foil over the little crystal box, but that didn't work. I've got a range gain, which I think is the same crystal, it's the same frequencies, so I might have to go in there and change the crystals around. Maybe we can get that Imperial fired back up on the old Tube Radio Network. But to try to answer your question, I do not know what the difference would be. Sam's PhotoFax 21, page 87, is where the information is originally. So I don't know if they would designate anything about that. So back to you. And then Stan is also saying that Noise Blanker is definitely on the Imperial 2. Over.
Right, okay. I got a range gain too. Hopefully warm it up and get it on there next. Kind of compare the two out. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference when it gets down to the tubes and everything on the tube radio. So we'll see how it sounds. Thanks, Dennis.
It sounds good. Thanks for getting it started off. Kind of a nostalgic item here. Didn't expect to hear a Regency Imperial right off the bat. And like I mentioned before, you're making me homesick. Is that the right word for the Regency Imperial? Let me show. We're talking about the 2. Let me pop up a picture of the 2, and this is from SWL 71, Stan's collection. This is a really nice version of that. Let me get it centered up here on the picture. You can see they changed. It still has the crown. They went with the green. I'm not sure why they went with the green, but they did in the black. And then the ANL, where's the switch? RF gain. And a noise blanker. There's a noise blanker in there somewhere. LSB, USB. Okay, there's another switch on there. There's another knob on there, too. But I think pretty much inside... nice radio. Good sounding radio, too. I noticed on mine, the receive on AM is narrow. If somebody was off frequency like a KC and a half, they are almost sound like sideband. We call that on the OTR net, but you've got the RVFO, and you just move your VFO and tune them in that way, because it works. I think it works on AM as well. All right, thanks, Stan, for the heads up, because I wanted to let people know about the Imperial 2 as well. Jingle Singers are ready to go, and after that, we'll be looking for radio number 2.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
We're looking for radio number 2. And saying hello to our viewers at Google YouTube, watching live. You might be watching this in the future, but this is the live broadcast for August 4th, Saturday. And Brian, the mighty KUH in the Radio Shack tonight, playing with an 820S. That was their hybrid tube radios. I'll say in line with like an FT101. I think I think they were hybrid, but they have an 830 as well. There was 820, 820S, 830, 830S. I don't recall. I never had one, and I wasn't into Kenwoods that much to recall what the S designation would do. And if I recall correctly, they didn't have AM. Brian, if you're listening, maybe you can clarify or confirm that. I don't think they had. They took AM off of the 820. I thought. Maybe I'm wrong about that, or maybe it was some type of a controlled carrier, and he got it for $50. Got $50 worth of knobs on that thing. Needs a little bit, just a wee bit of love. All right, we'll see what happens with the 820. It'll look good on the shack somewhere with the tube radios. OTR, we're looking for radio number 2. It sounds like there might be a little bit of skip coming through. So we'll just reiterate that this is the Old Tube Radio Network. We are in Central California, and we listen for and talk about the vintage glow-in-the-dark tube radios. If you've got one, we'd like to hear it. Also streaming live audio at oldtuberadio.net on your Universal Media Net web device and on your video player at Old Tube, what do they call it? What do we call it? The Old Tube Radio Network Live, August 4th, 2014. And I think because people didn't melt from the excessive heat today, they are out getting things done and having a good time. I think it was 29 days or 30 days in a row of temperatures 100 or better, which is the record here for the Central Valley, most of the cities in the Central Valley. I think we're getting a respite again tomorrow, and then maybe Monday we'll be back up. And that's good, because I'm working on a roof project, crawling up around in the attic today. Oh my gosh, that was not that much fun, but we've got a lot of stuff done, and hoping to get the roofing project taken care of, because then that means perhaps that there will be some possibilities for antennas. And JT, what happened on the old radio night tonight? Let me see if I can dial in. We're going to head over to the replay. You were on the General Electric. All right, I'm going to see if I can get a shot of JT's radio tonight on. There it is, the General Electric. That's a cool. Oh, and there's the bells. He's got the Demco bells on just on top of the frame. I think we got some audio. I'll just dial in. And was it slow? Was it slow on the old radio night tonight? Here we go.
The butt waffle, and Red Fox called him the San Francisco treat.
Oh well.
Yeah, poor.
They left him speechless.
Was he an extra class?
No, he's a general, but he's probably
okay. I like the modulation light. Watch the modulation later.
Well, all he has to do is apologize. They'll let him go.
All right, well, there you go. On the General Electric 40-channel PLL radio tonight, everything you wanted. All right, that was from the old radio night, which happens typically on Saturdays on West Coast time. I'm going to say it's like at 5 o'clock. You guys come on at 8 o'clock, something like that. And as you can see on the picture, the Demco bells, they're at the ready to be shaken and rung tonight if we get a Demco checking in on the old tube radio network. Stan, I'm going to check out the HB333 from Lafayette. Another radio that Stan has in the Radio Shack. I don't know. We used to get a lot of Lafayettes checking in, but I don't recall the 333. Let me get it centered up in the shot there. Actually, kind of nice looking radio, and I think, Stan, you mentioned it was from Polytronics? By Polytronics. So maybe like the Polycom or Polycom Pro. There it is. That's your standard old tube radio look, if ever there was one, with the classic square meter with the centering screw on the item, speaker right in the front, some knobs, your channel selector. Definitely old school. And it's got headphones, too. I like that. Okay, yeah, JT, I just randomly picked a spot there, and we got the Blue Waffle story, but thanks for elucidating on that. I think every area, every sort of call area has their Blue Waffle story. I know we have a couple here on the West Coast, and it depends what band you're on. If you're on 40 meters, it's sort of a regional hate and discontent jammer because not everybody can hear the daytime 40 meters. So you have your group there. If you're on 20 meters, that's the bad thing. I think that's why FCC monitors 20 meters a little bit more, because if you're doing something malicious there, you're pretty much beaconing across the universe, if you will, or have the potential to do that. And so the goodwill factor, the amateur radio goodwill factor makes the U.S. guys look kind of bad. So I think the FCC is more akin to jumping on the 20-meter guys than the local 75 and 40-meter guys, which stay regional. Anyway, everybody's got a Blue Waffle story. We've been pretty lucky here with repeaters and things like that and people not jamming. So that's a good thing. We have a really good frequency coordinator and some people that would probably make sure that those things did not happen, so it wouldn't happen very long. The Old Tube Radio Network, we're looking at the HB333 first production, SWL-71 Stan out of his collection, and we are waiting for Radio 2, and the jingle singers are saying, well, what the heck, so here we go.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And I think that was 45. Was that you, Paul? Over.
Yes, it is, Dennis. I'm not talking. I got to get any closer to this fire. Did you have a copy of me now? 45.
Yeah, it's actually got a lot of audio. It's a little muffled. It looks good on the meter, so we're definitely going to give it a go around and see what we got. So give it a shot, Paul. Over.
Okay, it's an Apelco AR-9.
Apelco Alpha Romeo -9. I'll see if we got that in the files here, and we'll go back to you for a transmission. We're hearing it, and I'm interested to see the picture.
Yeah, you should bring it up.
Oh, yeah. You know, now that I see the picture, I think the radio's doing just fine. It looks like it sounds. Over.
Yeah, it's an old radio, I'll tell you what. Manufactured in 1961. And the microphone was made by Raytheon. I'm not too sure what elements got in the thing, but it's definitely getting weaker. I got to really get close to the thing. If I back off, you won't be able to hear me. Anyway, it's a stock microphone, this thing, still working, which is nice. The noise limiter on this radio is really good. Okay, I get a lot of noise tonight. It's not most of it down. You're clear as a bell right now. I hope it'll stay that way. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
All right, 5 channels, 9 tubes. This is the type of radio that greeted you in 1958, 1959 in Sam's PhotoFax CB1 when you decided that you were going to be, KEO 8492 base to Unit 1. I didn't check to see if it runs on 12 volts. I would think it might. 5 channels, no S-meter. That is the most space-age, cool-looking microphone, and he's got the original mic on that. That's why it sounds like an old tube radio. And I see a couple of pilot lights, so I guess I always have to ask. You know me, I always ask about the pilot lights, what they do. One looks like it might be just when you turn the radio on. The other one might blink at you when you talk, but who knows? Back to you on the Apelco AR9.
Yeah, one is an antenna light. And another one is just light when you turn on the power, and then it comes on just to let you know it's on. Very simple radio. It's got that weird transmit on toggle switch and thing. You got to flip it when you transmit. This thing, look at the microphone. It's got a plug-in microphone at the bottom. And that's about all I can tell you about this radio. It's made by Raytheon. And they've been in business for years and years, 1922 as a matter of fact. And they're still in business, which is nice to see. And they were located in San Francisco when they made this for radio. Interesting. Nice old radio. Thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
Okay, so thanks for bringing it by. I always like the original oldies. Question, did you say it is not push to talk? And I'm looking at the microphone. It looks like it doesn't have a push bar. So it's not push to talk. You actually have to go to the radio and physically rotate a knob over.
Step back on that a little bit.
Yeah, is that a push to talk microphone? I think you said you had to actually flip some switch on the radio or something to get it to transmit over.
Yeah, well, you kind of stick your whole mouth into that hole there, and that's where you talk right there. You can't back off from it there. I'll back off a little bit.
Oh, no, yeah, when you back off, you go away completely. When you're in the microphone, there's sort of a sweet spot where the audio isn't muffled and it's nice and loud and moving the carrier around. So I think you had found it with no problem at all. The Apelco AR9, possibly Raytheon having something to do with that. One of the first 11-meter Class D radios in the Sam's PhotoFact CB1, and you heard it here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Dennis. My 2, Regency 2, didn't want to cooperate, so maybe I'll take another one out for it.
All right, well, I'm glad we got the Regency Imperial, and I had a nice picture of the 2 from SWL 71's collection, so we did get to see it if we didn't get to hear it tonight. And stand to the rescue, thank you. Applied Electronics Company, Apelco. Same as Raytheon, as Paul mentioned. And uses a carbon microphone. I was about to say that, but I didn't know for sure. But that's typically, as you heard when Paul moved back from the microphone, the massive drop-off in audio, which would be similar to your old-style telephone. Nice to hear one of those. Nice to see one of those. I bet there aren't many around. built like a tank. It looks like a tank, sort of. And hello to Bald Eagle out there in Missouri waving a hand with a Messenger 223. Normally we have a 223 checking in every week, every other week. Have had no E.F. Johnsons tonight. But if Walter was on his radio, I'm sure it would be the 223 checking in. Maybe that's how he's checking in tonight over at the YouTube video. SWL2 OBP. Kevin is in the house. Let me give the official SWL2 check-in on the big board. And if he was, we were asking, Kevin, we were asking our shortwave listeners tonight as they checked in what radio they were using. And I mentioned that if you were to check in over the air, I'm sure your choice would either be a Browning or the infamous Buddy Bass. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. We are looking for radio number 3 tonight.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Hello, Christopher. Over.
Okay, I'm having a hard time hearing. Static's pretty loud over this way, but I want to check in the radio.
We would be glad to take your radio check-in on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Okay, well, I'm going to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A. It's 24-channel version of this here, and we're running here with a handheld stock microphone. Over.
Having a lot of the radios tonight with handheld microphones or stock microphone like the Apelco. Here's what stock microphone sounds like when you have the right modulator tubes in the radio. Super MC11 sounding loud, and you said the QRM, the noise is back, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty bad tonight. It's loud. I've got probably, a little bit over 9 S units of it.
Yeah, I bet you have some LED lights going on somewhere that come on at night or stay on, like a dusk to dawn. I found in fact, it was last week I discovered that some that I have around here are definitely causing issues when I turn them on. Just enough to add some, an S unit of noise, but that can knock people out. Your sound's a little bit more severe than that.
I've turned them all off in here before to see if that might be it, but let me turn them off now and see if it makes any difference. Give me a minute.
All right, and these would be the LED style lights. The newer use 6 watts to make 40 watts type of bulbs. course, your neighbors could have them too, and probably do. Our Radio 3 tonight, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A with 9 tubes, sounding pretty doggone good. 2 transistors are in there somewhere, too.
Well, I've turned off a lot of things and I can't get nothing to change.
All right, well, could be something the neighbors are doing. Hopefully, you will find them.
You know what? I just happened to think my neighbor did get a new light for his front porch just not long ago. Yeah, like one of those bug lights, like that's usually orange. He got one that's kind of a green color. I wonder if that could be causing my trouble.
Well, usually they're bright white, but maybe he's got one of those the new ones that change colors. That could be doing it. Anyway, back in the day, the trash can special, the Polycom. What was the trash can special? The Polycom Pro?
I don't know, but I got on the other radio where I could hear better.
Okay. Anyway, we'll be listening.
Yeah, I tried everything, but it just does it on AM mainly. On the tubers, of course, like I said, the Kenwood, luckily it's got all the filters in it and knock out a lot of that. So, but anyway, even then it gets kind of loud at times on here, but not like it is on the tubes.
Yeah, the Kenwood's got a better kind of staticky pulse filter, and if it's adjustable, sometimes they're adjustable. You can kick it in, turn the adjustment all the way down, kick in the noise blanker, kick it in and out, see how much it's taking out, and just adjust it until it goes out. Because you adjust it too much, then it can start distorting the incoming audio. The only problem is sometimes if it's really bad, it'll sort of ride in with the carrier and can mess things up. But now, hopefully you can figure that one out. The Old Tube Radio Network is what you're listening to, or perhaps you're watching our video link. We are in Central California, and every Saturday for a couple of hours, we grab the old vintage tube radios and see how many other tube radios we can talk to. We're looking for radio number 4. And Ray, that's another thing I've not checked, and I have both the wireless gas meter, or the smart meters they call them, and I think they've also got it on the PG&E side, on the electric. The electric stuff is far away, but the gas meter is actually right outside where the wires go. I'll have to get the old transistor radio and see if anything's going on with that. There's all sorts of RF things happening these days that can mess up a radio. Yeah, some of those are so splattery bad, you don't want to be sleeping next to them. You don't want to have that meter right outside your bedroom window. It's like having a cell phone to your head all the time. You can hear my noise levels. I'm like kind of building and going down and building and going down. That's usually a indication that there is some activity, skip activity trying to brew. The Old Tube Radio Network looking for radio number 4.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
And Walter commenting on his E.F. Johnson collection. I'm not the Messenger 1, of course. Everybody knows the white face, the 2, the black face, the 223, which is Messenger 2 with extras, the 124, 124M, which is the mobile, the 202 and the 215. I don't know what those are. I was looking to see if we have them. We have more of the older stuff in our oldtuberadio.com database. I don't see those numbers. Obviously, they're solid state versions. I guess that's why they're not included. We have a lot of the Rangers. But E.F. Johnson, one of the few companies, maybe the only company of the radios that we check in that is still in business. Not that they're producing CB radios, but the company is actually still around. So that's a very rare thing. And if Larry, Radio Ham Guy, gets on, and he occasionally does, he actually worked for E.F. Johnson back in the 1980s and has some good stories to tell. I think he actually met Edgar F.
You're awfully quiet.
I think everybody's finally enjoying the fact that it was kind of cool today in the Central Valley. All right, there is, courtesy of Radio Museum, and Walter, that is a new one on me. I want to put that up here. That is, I believe, the 215. Let me dial up the video. Messenger 215. It looks a heck of a lot. It looks a heck of a lot like the Messenger 2, doesn't it? Or a 2 and 215's clothing. So is that a business band radio? Let me check on that. But there it is. That's the You might confirm that, Walter. That's what I show as the 215, and I actually think it says 215 up in the corner there. And number 2 saying that E.F. Johnson owned by Kenwood. I know the place in town here that worked on them is a Kenwood dealer, so. And what's E.F. Johnson owns Kenwood, Yaesu owns Motorola. Is that the case, or has Motorola bought Yaesu? I don't remember. Something like that. I wonder if these are convertible, the business band. So is that a 27 megahertz thing? Are these convertible to put the right crystal in to get on 11 meters with that business band output, I wonder? I don't think we've ever had anyone check in on a 215. The Old Tube Radio Network looking for radio number 4. All right, and while we're at it, Walter, there's the 124M. Looks like the 223, doesn't it? Or maybe the 250 with all sorts of little switches there on the front.
Braco-TR.
And the Braco-TR breaking the silence. It should be cool in your Radio Shack tonight. We were having, you know, no triple digits today. Hello, Harvey.
Hey, let's see how cool it is in here. It is 82 degrees. Now, considering, I guess that's pretty cool. Okay, it's the same radio I was on before, and go ahead and check me in again with the Browning Golden Beagle R68T68 by Browning Laboratories with the custom D104 unamplified hand microphone. So go ahead and check that in, and I'll turn it back to you.
Sounding good as always. You have me beat. I'm at 86. I'm normally at 90-something. Oops, in the shack. So good time to... The tubes don't care. The tubes do not care about the heat. In fact, I think they would actually prefer things to be a little bit toasty. However, transistors and humans sometimes don't agree with that. As always, the audio is stellar on the Browning over.
thank you. Yeah, this mic, I think, is the one that came with the radio when the person that I got it from bought it. I think he said he was the original owner, and he just wasn't into radio much anymore, so he sold this and a 180 and the microphone. Anyway, how about that? Okay. If anybody is looking for some Browning parts, I just came into possession of a 40-channel dial for a Mark III, and basically that's the 23 channels on the top with the 40 going around on the bottom. If anybody's got a converted radio but doesn't have the dial, I've got that. And actually the tuning inductor too, tuning capacitor for it also. And then a receive meter for a Mark III, just the actual meter, not the bezel, just the meter. The needle is fine, the meter works. And I came in possession of the 7 gold control knobs from a Mark III receiver. And that's the 6 small and the 1 large. So I have those now. So if somebody is in need of any of that stuff, just get a hold of me and see what we can do. Okay, turn it back to you.
Back to me in the studio. All right, Harvey, good transmission there, SWL20, with some items of interest. As SWL3 might say, from listening from your transmission there, he would say, are you saying the Brownings are parts radios?
Well, apparently somebody party went out and I ended up with the parts, or some of them.
Okay, parts can be good on the Old Tube Radio Network. You are giving me an idea here for our December shows, our December nets, that maybe we need the 12 days of tube radios. You know, like 8 banana microphones, 7 gold control knobs, 6 whatever, 5 golden eagles. I don't know. That could happen. Radio number 4 online with us. Thanks, Harvey. On a slow evening, not because it's too hot, because it's not so hot like it's been, and everybody's just saying, whoa, time to actually go outside and do something. Or maybe like me, they've been outside all day doing something and they just, they overdid it. Coming in here to the cool 86 degrees. You sound good, Harvey. Hopefully you've had a good day and are raring to go tomorrow and shoot some skip on all the radios.
Okay. Don't forget to proxy me in next week. I'm working. Okay, I'll be listening.
All right, thanks for checking in the Browning and letting us know he's got parts, ladies and gentlemen. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are looking for radio number 5.
45.
Wow, there is some mellow audio. Hello, Paul, over.
Yeah, I'm taking my metal Super MC9 general radio telephone.
Wow, nice, just really nice, easygoing mellow audio. I'll take a look at the S meter when you come back, because it's also got a great little signal going on. We'll talk about general radio telephone and specifically your MC9. I'll bring up a picture. I just wonder, I know I have a 9. I hope I have a 9. See if it's from your collection. It's coming up now. And indeed it is. Looking good.
Yeah, that's the one. No, I don't think that's the one I'm talking on now. but it could be. I'll have to go match them up soon. Anyway, this is the one I think I got from my friend down at Long Beach. I think he picked this one up for me. This one right here was. Anyway, they're real neat. This is the first year that they came out with that CFO. It's kind of like they call it passband tuning. I can tune you in very, very good. Quite a difference. If there's any problem, if you're off frequency, I can bring you in with it. Very nice addition to the thing. This is the first one that came out that way. And of course it has the famous ECL 800 tube of the thing too, plate modulated. And just super nice radio. I got, you're the one that told me on this microphone, Dennis. You said this is the one that sounds good for the radio.
Oh, I did, huh? Well, good for me. Maybe I have a good ear after all. That's nice and mellow. Looks good on the meter too. Some forward modulation going on. It complements the audio and just nice and smooth. Let me see what was my. I've got like three mouses here on the Mises here on the table. CB16, page 39, 12 volt DC, 115 volt AC. I guess I was thinking the Master Control series didn't go 12 volt DC, but they did, even though they had the VS, the Vibration Service series. Only 10 tubes in that continuously tunable receiver, but still with 23 channels on the transmit. Okay, I guess that's not too hard to do.
No, it's a very nice radio. Not cluttered or anything like that. They first started the Super MC. They started making them look pretty. They got out of the boxy style and give it a little bit of modern stuff to it, which makes they're not overdone. They're a very nice radio. That's about it for the thing. I talk on this general radio 12 microphone. It's just a CM2 model on the microphone, and it is general radio telephone. It's I believe it's a Turner. It's one of those real heavy-duty polished aluminum microphones. So that's what I'm guessing on the thing. Anyway, back to you, and thanks, Dennis.
Always good with the stock audio. We can see the microphone in the picture. I'm looking at the meter again. I bet that radio has got some fairly decent output on the peaks. If you look at an RMS meter, probably wiggling pretty good. If you look at a PEP meter, I bet it's way up above 15 watts on PEP. Someone may have that strapped, but then have it back down just enough so the audio sounds good. Anyway, it looks good all the way around. That's a really nice, impressive sounding radio and lace. That looks, the way it's tuned, really looks good on the meter as well. Radio number 5 at 953. This is like the little net that could. I think I can. Maybe we can get 6 radios tonight. But I understand everybody is out enjoying the respite from the high temperatures. Thanks, Paul, for your check-ins tonight, and I'm glad you brought in the MC9. Sounding good, over.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd love to check this one in. Pretty reliable radio. I've got a switch on the back of the thing. It takes the place of that little plug-in thing that you increase your wattage on the thing. But when I run it, it distorts. It doesn't have much swing at all to it. So I stay down in the 3 or 4 watt range on this thing and let it swing. Back to you, and thanks a million.
Okay, yeah, don't touch the thing. Sounds good. So maybe that's what they're doing. It isn't strapped, and they're just using the headroom to get the nice audio. Speaking of headroom, let's go over to, where are they? I got to get their attention. The Jingle Singers here on the Old Tube Radio Network. We are standing by, listening.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic
Old Tube Radio.
for you.
The Old Tube Radio for you. And Stan, about the Echolink. Yeah, I have some other projects going on there, just taking all of my time. And then it's logistics as to which computer, which radio, which antenna, or I'm thinking I would like to make sort of a remote pickup for that. That's not one of my radios here at the desk, and run it through that way. So I got to think. It's one of those things. It should be easy enough. I could probably just go in and do it and say, "Hey, I'm on," and it's there. We did it with Larry Radio Ham Guy and ran it through the audio. And actually, I'll have to find out what number, what date that is if anybody wants to listen to the archives. I think it was back in 2017, like in April or something. We actually did an Echolink connection, but that was just a quick setup. And I ran it through the audio board here, so I had to be careful what I was doing. But I'd like to do a separate remote, something like that. So logistically, it's going to take a while, I think, to get it the way I want, so I don't get into trouble with audio going where it shouldn't. But that would be great, actually. I agree with you. So it's on. Let's put it on the punch list here. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it is. If it's number 10 or number 110. The Old Tube Radio Network. We're standing by.
How about a check-in for SWL 47?
Yes, as Net Control operator grabs the listener. Boy, my noise gate is set too low. It's noise gating me out. I think because I have no energy left. SWO 47. I've got you checked in, and if I click on the right button here, if you were looking at the video portion, you would see your name up in lights.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for that. And what you were listening to me on from the radio lounge here is my Robin T123 with the infamous Magic Eye tube. Everything's glowing quite nicely, and I got to say, it's hot. Harvey, I think what was? I think when I walked into the room earlier, it was 86. It might have cooled down to 84, but the tubes in this radio, I think, I don't know how many tubes there are, maybe 11 of them, something like that. They're definitely keeping things nice and toasty over here.
Yeah, with the way the weather is going, you don't need any help to generate heat. Robin T123, 11 tubes, 2 transistors, and sounding really good. I remember last week it was sounding good, so you haven't wrecked it. It's still going.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some sort of a sick joke to make about maybe me using excessive amounts of Windex on the inside of the radio. No, I haven't broken it, and I know someone described their radio a moment or two ago as being pretty reliable. I think this Robin for me has been pretty reliable too. I think that the only issue I've had with it was this D104 microphone that I'm using right now. Besides that, I think this thing, I don't think it's ever failed me to be honest with you. I know at least 2 of my other radios in the barn here have caused issues, but not this one. I don't know what more I can say about this. I'd highly recommend that everyone get some sort of a radio with a Magic Eye tube. I mean, these things are just enchanting. I know they make Nixie tube wristwatches. Someone needs to come up with a Magic Eye tube wristwatch too. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know how they do it, but it'd be cool.
Who was it that had two-way wrist TV? Was that Dick Tracy? I don't know. Well, what can I say? The radio's doing okay. You've given us Radio 6 tonight, our first Robin. And the audio is nice, and you're in the Radio Shack. What could be better?
Well, what could be better? Maybe I'll sign off on this. I actually did something you mentioned a while ago. Made me think of maybe a fun game to play. I don't know if you ever listen to Car Talk on NPR, but they used to do this thing, Stump the Chump, or even if you watch the old Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Stump the Band. Something you said earlier made some gears click in my mind. So we may have started a little something. I don't want to give anything away, but but and I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, everyone sounds great. Harvey, I'm glad you're surviving the Radio Shack there. I can't imagine it's very pleasurable out there. I guess a lot of folks are kind of in hot situations there. But anyways, everyone sounds great, and as always, thanks for being out there and letting us play with these fun toys.
Indeed. Well, obviously, me being around isn't the precursor to playing with toys. It can happen any night of the week, any time, when the urge hits you there. But we just, I guess we do it formally here on the Old Tube Radio Network and document it now. So you can say, yes, I actually did that. My radio checked in. The other thing, Stan brings up a point about the fires, the Yosemite fire and the fires that are close by here, although they're east of us. But the smoke circles out and around through the valley, so our particulate matter air quality is often in the triple digits, which is unhealthful. Like I think it was 128. It gets worse at night because the breeze goes down. As you can see, my Flora and Fauna in the background is blowing around pretty decent tonight as we are in a low pressure coming and dropping our temperatures. But sometimes that's bad for the smoke. I was talking to one of the roof guys today. Said he was up in Jackson, which is actually past the fires, but it's up in the hills, and he said it looked like fog. So get out your mask. What is it? The PM2 or your N95 mask for the PM2.5 particulate matter, which is dominant out here. So yeah, you can smell the smoke, you can see it. Not as bad, of course, if you were up by the fire, but I think that is why a lot of people are dragging here, or just not wanting to do anything. We're just too much smoke, and we're not up in the fires at all. John, the mighty Juliet Whiskey, still looking for info on the Redicom 6 channel. If anybody knows or has anything about the Redicom 10.2, very elusive. Maybe you have the only one in existence. I don't know. Going to be counting and amounting soon, but we are looking for any and all check-ins. Thanks, Mike, here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
So I'll make a quick comment if we still have time.
This is the We Still Have Time frequency. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, the air here is definitely bad. I literally just a few minutes ago got home from Shaver Lake, and I got to tell you, it's flat out nasty up there. I think they even had a fire. We lost power this morning, and when we went out to go ask about it, I guess I hate to say this, but I think, is it PG&E that services up there? I can't remember. Maybe it's someone else. A power line fell over and then, of course, sparked a fire and dumped a bunch of garbage in the air. And it was just the trifecta, that fire, and then the Ferguson, and then the up and running. It's amazing. I think you mentioned Jackson, California. That's funny because I'm gonna be up there, or at least driving through there in a few days. So that's pretty funny. But anyways, I'm definitely the heat. I guess I'm kind of used to that, although I'm done with it. But man, this air, folks, this isn't good. So well, there it is.
Didn't think of Shaver Lake is up there at 4,500 feet, I guess, up in that area. So it's bad. There's just a lot of smoke, and it's blowing around. And when the particulate matter gets into the triple digits, it's just not good to be jumping around outside. And this has been going on for a couple of weeks now. So hopefully we complain about the smoke. Hope all the people out near the fire are surviving okay. Last call. Let's see where the Jingle Singers are as we look for possible radio number 7. No smoke from your tube radio. That's what we're hoping.
You're tuned to
OTR Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
He's probably switching radios.
Man, you're making my heart pound. No, I realized that the air conditioning switched off at 10 o'clock, so I had to go and run in the hallway and do the thermostat. Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
Were you camping or was it a quick day trip?
We stayed there last night. We had a friend that rented a cabin.
Whole family?
Almost. Connor's camping somewhere. He's camping in Santa Cruz.
Okay. Just wondered. Thank you, Mike. I'll be listening.
You got it. And OTR, I know that a long time ago you had kind of an interesting webpage that you had mentioned where you could type in 2 addresses, and I'm sure Google Maps might be able to do that, but you had mentioned some webpage like What's Up, I think it was, that basically you could type in 2 addresses, and it was like what's the term I'm looking for, a topographical map that basically could tell you, if your signal could make it from one location to another straight line of sight. I don't know if you want to comment on that. I know we're trying to wrap things up. Actually, maybe if you feel like addressing it, you could do it after everything's turned off. I don't want to prolong anything.
I'm not sure about that. I think you have to do a special lookup on Google for that. Okay, I'm out.
And Mike, you are right, and I totally forgot about that. And it was given to me by one of the TV guys, because they're always looking for height above average terrain and live trucks, what they're beaconing, and basically your mountaintops, what they can see. I think, and this is off the top of my head, and I haven't typed it in, I think it was called Hey, What's That? I think it was Hey, What's That? But I could be wrong, and it would show you, you would get a geographical location, a longitude and latitude, and then you could look north, south, east, and west, and you could say, I'm going to be at ground level, I'm going to be at 20 feet up, I'm going to be 100 feet up, and it would show you the horizon, and there would be little dots and items on the horizon. If you click on the dots, it will tell you this is this mountain and this is this peak. And it was pretty cool. You could see, well, if I'm sitting here with my 10-foot antenna, can I see Mount Wilson? Can I see Mount Oso? Can I look down the valley? So I think it was called Hey, What's That? I'm not for sure. And it was not all that easy to use, and it could have changed.
Okay, I'm going to have to do some research on that. I guess you got to be kind of weird when you go on little vacations, if you're always trying to think about how far out you can get out on HT or what kind of performance you can expect out of your antenna. I would imagine that's something that the AAA tour guides probably couldn't help you out with.
And one of the viewers is mentioning that Google Earth Terrain Profile can do that as well. Probably do it quite well, unless Hey, What's That is using that somehow. Computes summits visible from any location worldwide is Hey, What's That? So that is one of the items, or as John mentions, Google Earth Terrain Profile. Before I go, let me say hello to the mighty Timtron, Pacific Northwest, where we can sometimes be heard on the mighty Yaesu receiver. Otherwise, we'll do it digitally. And also checking in X4000, I think, is tuning in, beaconing in on his homemade steampunk radio device here on the Old Tube Radio Network. And I think I'm going to wrap it up at 13 after here. It has been a long day in a very hot and claustrophobic attic. during the roofing project here at Bozo Control and up on the very warm roof. It was actually nice today. I was used to 105. Get to 99. It's like, yeah, let's go on the roof all day. Any last items of interest before we have Mr. Announcer and the band and the orchestra tell us things? Tell us things like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
This will be the current and final totals, SWLs and radios. Hey, as long as we get one radio, it's a successful evening. On shortwave listener check-ins tonight, we had 6 on page 1, 16 on page 2, 16 on page 3, and 14 on page 4 for a total of 52. That ain't too bad. And we also discovered the radios that you all are running tonight when you check in. That was kind of interesting. That's very interesting, actually. And radio-wise tonight, out of the 6 radios, the general radio telephones managed to get 2. Managed to have 2 general radio telephones. If we had some skip conditions, I have a feeling we probably would have had a couple of Regencies in there as well, and maybe a few more Robins. Paul, radio number 1 on the Regency Imperial double sideband AM. There is one around here somewhere. I also have a plaque, courtesy of SWI 84 and family, commemorating. I'll have to bring it in here again and actually show it, commemorating the 30-year anniversary of the Old Tube Radio Network. And showing the Regency Imperial. That's how I started my tube radio days way back when. The Apelco AR9 from 1959, I believe, one of the first radios in Sam Swodefac's CB1, getting people on the air. The Applied, see how well my memory is going. And Stan, you were good at Applied Electronics Company, same as Raytheon. Apelco AR9 Radio 2. Radio 3, Chris on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. We were followed by the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, or it's at the Browning Golden Beagle. From Harvey on the west side. Paul on the General Radio Telephone Super MC9 with some really nice audio. As all our radios tonight, nice audio. And the Robin T123, the Winking Blinking Magic Eye from Michael in the radio lounge tonight. 73, everybody. Don't know where you are or what you're doing, but hope you're having fun doing it. Let me see who's new before we sign out. Phoenix, Arizona. What's the weather like there? Spokane, Washington. That could be Timtron. And a host of others tuning in and tuning out. We'll do the archives. Audio up will be up shortly. Video will be up for a while if you want to see or listen to your replay. And check out the skip conditions. There are some contests going on. I don't know what it is on the ham bands. Congratulations, Stan, on the upgrade. And we'll have fun until Daddy takes the T-Berry T away. 73, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night. Good night. Another good job there, Dennis.
Would this be the, it's never too late for a late check-in frequency?
This would be the never too late. The video's still on. The audio's still on. Dennis is slow tonight trying to figure out which mouse to click to turn everything off, and he didn't do it in time. So let's add that is 53 SWL check-ins. And if I find the right mouse, and my page is still open, and I go to where it says SWL check-ins, and I go to where it says SWL 70, and I click the check-in box, you are indeed checked in. Now I have the paper version to do it.
70, thanks you very much. Have a great evening, Dennis. Thanks, man.
All right, and try and stay out of the smoke and wear your, what is it, N95 mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Easier said than done. And well, that's it. I want to thank, I didn't thank SearchLaunch.com and Frodex for keeping the Nixie tubes running. And all of you, as we say good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's .com and click on Path Profiler.
Oh, okay. I'll try that. I got that webpage once, I think, like many years ago. I just haven't had a chance to fool around with it. And of course, last night I was thinking, geez, I wonder how far I could actually get out from Shaver, but I think, it wasn't working out.
Well, if you can be really precise on your Shaver Lake location, I just put in Shaver Lake to Fresno, and it shows a line of sight where there are a couple of peaks, small, not that high in the way, but still a little bit in the way. But it depends on where in Shaver Lake. You might be a little bit higher and, and be able to do it with minimal problems. Although, being that you're tall, bring a big ladder and hold the antenna up really high.
I got to tell you, I mean, obviously it wasn't my cabin that we were visiting up there, and whenever I do make trips like that, I was thinking, it'd be nice to actually have a cabin up there, but geez, if you're missing something, you're not going to just run to a local hardware store and pick it up in a matter of minutes. You said bring a ladder up there. Well, you could bring a ladder, but geez, man, talk about having to really pack your everything up and bring it up there.
Well, if you have the right cable and a balloon and the right gas, just kind of up in the air it goes with the antenna. Anyway, check that out, and based on if you can get a more precise location other than just plain Shaver Lake, which is what I typed in, maybe you'll have more of a line of sight there, down to Fresno. Anyway, I'll let you go. I'll be off for a week or so and then back on. Take care. Talk to you later. Say hi to the family. We're out.
Yeah, Mike, you want to have your exact GPS location coordinates to do it correctly.
And you want to know something disturbing? I could tell you the exact GPS coordinates because I thought I'd be able to do it by that once I got home. So I had my little Garmin nav system with me. So I saved it to favorites or pinpointed it or whatever. So I actually could tell you that thing. I will also say, and unfortunately, I don't think they make it anymore, but the reason why I brought that little Garmin nav system up there was because I guess it was the ARRL at one point in time had a little repeater app that you could download straight onto your nav system. And basically, when I started out, doing, on the HT, when I first got my ticket, I bought the repeater book, and then of course you'd have to try and figure out where you were, and if you couldn't find any repeaters that were in the same town, you had to guess what other towns might be around you that would contain a repeater or not. But I'll tell you what, this app that, again, I think it was ARRL that put it out, that thing was great. You literally, the nav system knows where you are, and it will sort by distance all the other repeaters that are around you. So Shaver Lake, there wasn't anything there. I don't think there was anything.
Good night, everybody. 73 on the
really
video.
Near there, but I think I did find one in Oakhurst.
Radio Network.
I think it was Oakhurst that